From Variety.com, in a move that made everybody really sad, James Bond shocker. Amazon MGM gains creative control of the 007 franchise as producer Barbara Broccoli, that's her name, and Michael G. Wilson step back. Amazon MGM Studios is set to take creative control over the Bond franchise, which means James Bond will be a black transgender wheelchair-bound person in the next 007, A Wheel of Time. The shocking announcement, which is sure to shake and indeed stir the industry, I see what they did there, was made Thursday alongside the news that the longtime producers would be stepping back. As per details of the historic agreement, Amazon MGM Studios, Wilson and Broccoli have formed a new joint venture to house the James Bond intellectual property rights. Three parties remain co-owners of the iconic franchise. The franchise has a weird history of people who own it, don't own it, who has creative control, who doesn't, whatever the case may be. Now, Jeff Bezos actually did something kind of funny on X today. Let me see if I can pull that up because, that's how we roll here. I kind of just think of things on the fly, and you guys watch me stumble around for 5 minutes, Jeff. Bezos, not Bozos. Go back. There he is. Jeff Bezos puts out a tweet saying, hey guys, who should be the next James Bond? And of course, everybody says the one and only Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill should be James Bond. That's it. There really is no other choice for James Bond. It should be Henry Cavill. It should be not Elon Musk. It should be Henry Cavill. Not him. Not Elba, not Idris Elba, not because he's black, but the man in the intellectual property that is James Bond is white. It's not a negative thing to be like the guy who plays James Bond should be white because he is written as a white person. Once again, Henry Cavill, not Michael B. Jordan, Henry Cavill, not this guy, not that guy, Henry Cavill. That's the only guy that should be James Bond. And anybody who says otherwise is what I like to call stupid. Hey, I like Gerard Butler. I am a Gerard Butler fan. I will watch any of his stupid movies. I love White House. Olympus Has Fallen. Olympus Has Fallen is one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies. I love the fact that the White House gets taken over by a bunch of North Koreans, and the only guy that can save it is Gerard Butler, who single-handedly kills all of them. I mean, come on. It's typical. It's like old school 80s action stuff. That's great. Another one that's underrated is the movie Greenland. It came out in 2020. It was supposed to come out, but then, the thing happened. But, I love Gerard Butler. I would be actually, I would be in favor. Law Abiding Citizen. If you haven't seen Law Abiding Citizen, make some time this weekend to watch it. Fantastic. The ending's a little bad, but the rest of the movie is so good. I love Law Abiding Citizen. And so that's fine. And I would be fine with Gerard Butler being James Bond. Because he's just not suave enough to be James Bond, but I think it would be fantastic. But this is something that, people in the industry are going to watch because people are even saying, is the James Bond franchise done? They've had like 20 plus films. Can you do James Bond in the year 2025, 2026? I think you can. But that would require them casting somebody like Henry Cavill and letting him be essentially rebooting it back to having him be like a Sean Connery type of James Bond. That's the only way to do this. Sean Connery, just AI Sean Connery back into all of them, right? Just Sean Connery back in just AI. I would do that too. I would take AI. AI James Bond as Sean Connery, sign me up, dude. That would be fantastic. I would all day and twice on Sunday. So it goes into public domain in 2035. There's a bunch of stuff that's going into public domain in the next 10 years. I know Batman, the original Batman, not like now Batman, but the original DC Detective Comics, he goes public domain. Superman, not now Superman, the Superman that can jump, leap tall buildings in a single bound. He goes into public domain. I think Mickey Mouse hits the public domain in the next 2 years because Disney wasn't allowed to retain him, but not modern Mickey, Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse. So if you want to make a Steamboat Willie, tons of Disney stuff is going into public domain soon. So you actually might get some creative types actually doing some stuff with this intellectual property that might be more entertaining. And now we live in a time where people can make decent films with technology, phones, Adobe, and all of the things to do it. Oh, dude, the Winnie the Pooh stuff. Have you seen it? Like, they're all slasher movies. They have a Winnie the Pooh slasher movie. They have a Bambi slasher movie. They have a Tinker. It's kind of funny. I haven't seen any of them, but I think it's a funny use. Yeah. So you could bring Mickey Mouse back to before he was woke. James Bond in space or versus zombies. Yeah, why not? Why not? If he's in public domain, just have fun with him, right? James Bond and versus a zombie apocalypse. I think that would be fantastic. Anything better than the last James Bond. And if James Bond goes into the public domain, you will not get the terrible James Bond. And I will die on this hill. I will die on this guy right here was the worst Bond, period. End of story. End of story. Worse. Top 3, Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton. Those are the 3 best Bonds ever. And then the guy who played it the longest, he wasn't bad. His films were really bad at the end. This guy was awful. Daniel Craig is such a feminist and such, oh, I'm so sad. I'm James Bond. I have a life where I get paid. I go around the world and I get to do things and hot women want to sleep with me. Oh, I'm so what a loser. Come on, dude. You're James Bond. You're literally James Bond. That's like the archetype. And he just played him in such a terrible crybaby way. No. Timothy Dalton was underrated. Timothy Dalton didn't get enough credit. He only got 2 movies, I think, or 3. He could have been a lot better in his James Bond if he had more time. He also has the best introduction in his first Bond film. I really do. I'm a big fan of Timothy Dalton's Bond. Of course, Sean Connery is the best. Pierce Brosnan is the second best, because if you gave the amount of support that Daniel Craig got, Daniel Craig got the studio behind him. They had serious directors, and they were like, we're going to reboot and make a good franchise. Pierce Brosnan had one good film, which was GoldenEye. GoldenEye was fantastic. And so I'm saying it's Connery, then Brosnan, and then Timothy Dalton. He's third. Those 2 are first and second. If Pierce Brosnan got the support and the writing and the directing that Craig got, you could have had 7 or 8 amazing Bond films. But no, they gave it to this clown, this feminist clown, and he made it a mockery. He had to sit in the back while the strong black woman made him like a fool and all this other whatever. What a loser. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, because we know Amazon has a great track record with intellectual property. So, I mean, yes, we'll see. But this is kind of shocking, because it's you're only going to have Disney, Amazon, Apple's still out there because they have money. They're going to be your main streaming services, right? And then Netflix, that'll be the 4th one. Those would be your major studios, and everybody else, Paramount, Sony, all these other, Universal actually might buy Warner Brothers this year. That was the plan originally. Universal will probably still be around as well. So I think there's only 6 now. There'll be 5 major studios once the dust settles, because streaming has absolutely decimated all of them. Because like outside of Mission Impossible, Paramount's been trying to sell to Skydance or whoever will buy them for the last 4 or 5 years. They're like, please, somebody buy us, because we can't make money. So this is just another eventuality in that regard. And apparently there's a movie out that I'm going to watch this weekend called The Gorge, with Miles Teller and that weird Anna Taylor-Joy lady who's got she's got crazy eyes. Apparently this film's very good. My buddy Sebastian, up in Dallas, he actually narrated my book. My audiobook was coming out in the next couple of weeks. He says it's great. He's a traditional Catholic. Really, really like a good, clean movie to watch, kind of like an old school film. So if you're looking for a movie recommendation this weekend, watch The Gorge on Apple TV Plus if you have it, because apparently it's actually really good. Yeah, it's going to be like everything else. It's going to be consolidation till there's just like 3 with a bunch of different studios, like New Lines, Lionsgate, New Lines, they're all going to get shut down and bought out because they're all just waiting to. They're all just waiting to. Like Fox. Fox is gone. Now it's a subsidiary of Disney. They're all just kind of waiting to be bought so somebody else can do the things and just put everything on streaming that nobody will watch. But interesting story thereof. Let me know who you would cast as James Bond in the comment section down below. Should be Henry Cavill.